RadioNOW 100.9's Indy Connection with Emily Metheny.
Hello, I'm Emily Metheny, your host. One thing that everyone seems to be able to agree on is that animals are great. And they don't have to be physically in person with you, they can be on the internet, but they always seem to find a way to brighten your day, which is really good for your mental health. Kelsey Burton, Executive Director of Paws Think, talked with me about her organization and how it pivoted during the pandemic to continue to provide resources online, which also includes helping people with their mental health. To talk a little bit about what Paws Think does, what's your guys' mission?
Our mission is to improve lives through the power of the human-dog connection. And we do that through two proven methods. One is of animal-assisted intervention, which most people know that as pet therapy. And that is where we train, evaluate, and place therapy dogs throughout central Indiana. And we have therapy dogs that go to hospitals, schools, senior centers, nursing homes, libraries, support groups. So we go to about 60 different locations throughout Marion and the surrounding counties. And we have about 125 therapy teams, which is a handler and his or her dog that is a therapy dog.
Excellent.
It's a fantastic program. And then the other side of our program is our youth canine program, and that's where we pair up at-risk youth with shelter dogs, and the kids train the shelter dogs in basic obedience. And at the end of the after-school program, the dogs become more adoptable because they know their basic skills. And then the kids learn a lot of life skills like patience, and they get improved self-esteem, empathy, all of those kind of things come as a result of that program. And then we partner with different local shelters, so like Indianapolis Animal Care Services, the Humane Society of Hamilton County. And so the dogs go back, and we have a 100% adoption rate of dogs that are in our program and then go back to the shelter and get adopted fairly quickly after the program because of the benefit of them having been trained.
And if a parent wants to get their kid involved in the program, or how would they go about that?
So for the Youth Canine program, we partner with different youth agencies who help us identify the kids. So we have a program at the Marion County Juvenile Detention Center. So that's for kids that are incarcerated at the facility, and then they have different selection criteria that we use for the kids there. Then we also have a program in Hamilton County, and that's with the Hamilton Youth Assistance Program. So the Youth Assistance Program helps us identify kids for that program. And then we also have one at Warren Central High School, and we work with counselors and teachers to identify kids for the program as well for that. So it kind of, for that program, you need to be working with one of those organizations or agencies to be able to be a part of that program. But what we do have are a lot of volunteer opportunities where you can help us, anywhere from sewing blankets for the dogs for when they get adopted so that they go home with a really nice blanket to, helping us train our therapy dogs. We're always looking for, especially kids of all ages, to help with that because we want to see how the dogs do around different ages and different types of people. So we always, appreciate when we have helpers for that. Obviously, right now, everything's being ran a little different than normal. So our programming is completely, one of those programs where it's all about being in person, touching the dog and interacting with the dog. So we had to make some pretty quick changes back in March. And I think we did it really well because what we were able to do is to find research that did back that even seeing a dog virtually can do all the good things that seeing a dog in person can do. So it releases, all the good endorphins, it makes you feel good. And that's why, we'll scroll through Instagram and look at pictures of dogs and cats. I don't know about you, but, 90% of my Instagram feed are pets. Mm-hmm. So, or animals of some sort. So we know there's a benefit still there from that. And so we moved our programs online for pet therapy. So we now, have virtual visits in the hospitals with an iPad. We now have, a couple of virtual visits that we're doing story times at the different libraries. So for kids that want to do the pet therapy side, you can go to, like this weekend's Brownsburg Public Library. We'll do this once a month. It's a virtual story time. So you can just call the library and sign up for your slot, and then you would virtually read to a dog through Zoom instead of us, being in the room. And we're seeing a lot of benefit and a lot of positive outcomes from that. So it's still, absolutely beneficial, and we have changed a lot of our programming. We are still doing training classes and evaluations. We just started those up again. They're running at a much lower capacity, so we have fewer dogs, fewer trainers, fewer volunteers, so that we can allow for social distancing. We have all new protocol about how to properly interact with the dog. What we do on visits now looks a lot different. But we're still, at the end of the day, training teams because we know right now we're in the middle of a mental health crisis. And people need that love, unconditional love and support from therapy dogs now more than ever. So we've got to be able to keep training teams and be prepared for these virtual visits, but also for when things open back up and we're allowed to go back into facilities.
And where can people follow along with all that information as updates do come out as we go through the pandemic?
I think the best is our social media. We have a pretty active social media presence, and so we try to post at least once every business day. So you'll get updates on, dogs that are available for adoption that have just graduated our Youth Canine program. We just started that back up last month. So there are dogs that are ready for their homes. And then you can also find things like volunteer needs, needs for us, for donations or wish list needs. All of those kind of things will be posted. So we're on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And so if you like to look at dog pictures, I definitely recommend Facebook or Instagram for that. And it's either at Paws and Think or at Paws and Think Inc. And that's on Instagram just because the Paws and Think was already taken. So it's an inactive account. So, yeah, so you can find us that way and really, sharing posts of what we're doing, all of that kind of stuff just helps us get the word out. And we're doing a lot of free online trainings and things right now, which is brand new for us. So if you need training tips on how to help your dog, you can go to our YouTube page, and all of these are linked at the top of our website, pawsandthink.org. If you click on the YouTube icon at the top, you'll go to our YouTube page, and there's so much content on there. There's how to train your dog to do different basic skills. There's also story times, so it's where a handler and their therapy dog will read a story, and the kids are just loving this. So, and actually a lot of the adults just as much. So, you can go there and get a lot of free content that we've been putting out because we know that we have, we can't physically be as accessible as normal, so we're trying to be there online as much as we can. So we have that. And then we also have on our website, too, an activity book. So that activity book is really awesome, especially for any kids you have that are, facing a little bit of boredom during all of this. There's coloring sheets and word searches and crossword puzzles. Local artist Gabriel Lehman designed the coloring sheets for the activity book, so they're fantastic. They're not something I drew, they're something an artist drew, and they're fantastic. And we've had really positive, experiences with that. People are loving the activity book, and we're sending those to the kids at Peyton Manning Children's Hospital and a few of the other places that we partner with so that the kids have something to do there.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's really great. We've done so much. As I'm talking, I'm, remembering all of these things that we're doing. We also started a program where we did this literally the week after everywhere shut down, we had cards printed up that had messages from the therapy dogs and pictures of the therapy dogs on front, and we distributed those to all of our program partners. So this went to elder care facilities, this went to hospitals, it went to some of the support groups, just to let people know that we're still here, we care about them, and just to give them a little bit of boost to their mental health.
And if someone wants to look at dogs to get that boost digitally, they can do it by checking out your social medias at Paws and Think and Paws and Think.
We have lots of dog pictures. We have lots of dogs in the program. There's lots of dog clips and videos. That's also where we post, to let you know when we have new training videos or new story times. We promote our events as well on the pages. So, really you can get a great snapshot of everything we're doing. Our website homepage also has an upcoming events or news section too, which is our blog. And it's right on the homepage at the bottom. So you can click on that and scroll through previous posts, and pretty much everything we put on social media is put on there as well.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And then just talking a little bit about pets in a pandemic. Mm-hmm. What are some resources that people could check out to learn more about adopting pets in general? If they've been wanting to do it, they've been seeing the posts, what's the best way for them to just go ahead and really take the initiative to start the adoption process?
If someone wants to adopt an animal, I think the first thing is you really need to think it through and do your research. A lot of times people may have, especially right now, they're lonely, they're at home, they have more time now maybe than they have in the past, and so they think this would be a great time to add a puppy or a kitty or something like that. And they don't think about how our lifestyles may change very quickly. We may be going back into the office, sooner than we think, especially, at some point in the dog's life. And so you really need to think about how does it fit your lifestyle now, but how will it fit your lifestyle down the road too, especially if you're working from home right now, but that's not going to be ongoing. So we've seen a lot of dogs that are getting separation anxiety right now because they're so used to their owners being home with them all day, and then all of a sudden they're all alone. And sometimes that can lead to destruction. They can start chewing or have a lot of anxiety. And so what we want to do is try to prepare our dogs for that. So, think about, do you have the time to ease your dog into getting back to being, alone for some of the day? So do you have resources to take them to doggy daycare or have a dog walker? Or can you start, tapering them kind of down to being alone? So maybe you leave, for an hour one day or 15 minutes one day, and you kind of build that up to see how they do, so that they see, I left, but I'm going to come right back. So, they kind of understand that mindset again. So you need to think about that. You also need to think about what kind of breed best suits your lifestyle as well. I'm someone who, prefers a little bit more of a lazy dog. So I have 4 dogs, but I like dogs that, we can do a walk or so, but for the most part, they prefer to just cuddle or maybe, throw a ball around the house, but they don't need active, running or something like that. So I would not be a good household, for instance, for a border collie who requires a ton of mental stimulation and physical activity. So this would not be a great house for that. So you have to think through that too. Sometimes people find a breed and they just, fall in love with that breed from pictures or videos, but they don't realize that it doesn't fit the lifestyle. You need to look at their medical issues that they may have. Different breeds may be more prone to different medical issues. So it's always good to do that research and see if you financially are able to handle any of those expenses that come up. And of course, I'm a big advocate of the mutt, the Heinz 57 dog. I have one of those. That's what you see a lot at the shelters as well, and they're awesome. I mean, I get to work with them all the time, and it's so neat to see how different their personalities and looks are and all of that. So sometimes, it's nice to just go adopt an older dog or a dog who, maybe doesn't show as well at the shelter, these are the dogs we pick for our youth canine program. So, research shows that black dogs are not adopted as quickly, and it's usually because they can't show their expressions or because of how we've just seen them culturally as scary or intimidating. And so we pick, black pit bulls for the program who are squishy and lovable and adorable, but they may sit at the shelter for a while because they just don't attract people the same way. So, kind of open your mindset to something like that, to just a great temperament of a dog. And that's what's so awesome about working with a shelter like Indianapolis Animal Care Services or the Humane Society of Hamilton County, is that they have adoption specialists who will work with you to make sure that, whatever you're looking for in a dog, if you're looking for a certain temperament or activity level, they'll be able to pair you up with those dogs because they get to know those dogs. And of course, they may act differently in a shelter setting than at home. A lot of times they have more anxieties in the shelter setting, but they still have a really good feel for their temperament. And, I also advocate for people, if you need the love of a pet right now and you can't commit to adopting the dog, fostering is incredible. It's an amazing way for you to be able to get that love and support from an animal, but also be able to do something amazing with it, which is find them their forever home, but you get them out of the shelter in the meantime. So fostering is, I'm always a proponent of that because it gives you the ability to kind of see, does your lifestyle work with a dog or a cat or a guinea pig or whatever it is that you're fostering, and make sure you're really in it for the long haul. So we fostered before, and we foster failed before where we've adopted. We fostered before as well. But the ones that we fostered and been able to, help them find their happily ever after has been so meaningful for us. And so, that's something, especially right now, if you're working from home and you have more time right now, but maybe it's not going to last forever, try fostering. So, and again, the shelters will work with you to find the animal that's best suited for lifestyle. If you have, kids at home, if you have other animals at home, they'll try to help you find the right fit.
because this year's kind of weird and not a lot of events are happening, are you guys doing any like digital events or anything like that?
We are. So in August, we have two big things going on. One is there's a store in Clay Terrace Mall called Close with a Cause. And every month they pick a nonprofit and they donate 100% of all of their profits to that nonprofit. And we are the month of August. So everything that gets sold in that store right now, we're benefiting from it. And we are hoping to raise about $5,000 from that event. And then we have a walk, which is called Walking for Dreams. And we're participating in that along with several dozen other nonprofits as well. And it's both virtual and in person. On the 16th, it's much smaller in person. I mean, there may be 10 of us that are actually walking the day of the event versus, our 50 walkers or so that we have. So a lot of people are doing that virtually from home. The beauty of this kind of virtual walk is you can do it anytime, anywhere type thing. So, I think a lot of our people are excited to have a goal to help us with our fundraising, but also be able to do what they want to do, which is the walk anytime that they can. And then in October is our huge fundraising event. It's normally our gala that we have, and it's called Dogs Are Magic. And every year we pick a different theme. This year it's Wizard of Paws.
Aww.
So obviously it's Wizard of Oz themed this year. And we are we've made the decision this week that we will be moving that virtually, which is a difficult choice. I mean, it really is. We have a big fundraising goal for that. A lot of the fun is that we're in person and we have magicians and we have a lot of entertainment, but we are able to move a lot of that online as well. And I think, it's just for the safety of everybody involved, and because we don't know where we'll be in October, it just makes more sense on our end from a planning standpoint. And it still will be really fun. I mean, we're still going to do all sorts of fun events. It just will be done virtually.
And where can people find more information about the gala and all of this? Where's the easiest way to do this?
Yeah, so our website is pawsandthink.org, and that's like dog paws. And then if you go to pawsandthink.org/magic, you'll be taken to our Dogs Are Magic page, and that'll lead you to information about that. We'll be posting information about how to register for the event in probably the next week or two once we get those links all up and going. And then as far as Close with the Cause, you can shop in person at the store at Clay Terrace Mall, or you can also shop online at closewiththecause.net. And again, all of the profits will come back and benefit us. And then for the walk, that's just pawsandthink.org/walk. So everything can be found from our website, but those are kind of the short URLs to be able to find the specific page.
Excellent. And Kelsey, is there anything else you'd like to add before we wrap up?
I guess, just one message, and that is, right now we know times are tough for a lot of people. And we know that mental health is taking a dive, and we're actively working to provide programming and to provide support for people during this time. So, if you are someone who is struggling right now, reach out to someone. You are not alone. We're here to be able to provide virtual support for you as well. But, talk to somebody. We just have seen a lot of isolation during this time. And that's why we've moved so much to the virtual visits or to sending cards or to doing pen pals and things like that, because these connections are so important. And so many of us, the door opens for us when a dog walks into the room or when a dog even gets on the screen, on a computer screen. All of a sudden, our guard's down a little bit and we start to smile and our mental health takes a boost. It starts to improve. So I just, I urge people right now to reach out to your support systems and know that you're not alone, because we really are seeing this take a very tough toll on some people. And we're here, our community is here, and, you were loved.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
For the second part of the show, I had the opportunity to talk with John Helling, Director of Public Services for the Indianapolis Public Library. John gave some details and resources that students, guardians, and teachers can use from the public library, from databases to Wi-Fi. First, John explained how the reopenings happen for the branches and what patrons can expect when visiting the library.
So we started our reopening process in the beginning of June. We opened our branches in 3 different waves. We've made adjustments to every branch to increase the safety for our patrons. So, for example, we have the plexiglass shields like you might see in Target or in Kroger between staff and patrons. We've removed some furniture so people can't kind of gather in groups and things like that. And we also we have headcount limits at each branch to ensure that we don't overcrowd the space and break social distancing.
And then when patrons come in, are they required to wear a mask?
Yes, all patrons above the age of 2 are required to wear a mask in accordance with the Marion County mandate. All staff are required to wear a mask also. We serve, a variety of populations. We serve all populations, and including some very vulnerable ones. So we do want the environment to be as safe as we possibly can make it.
And then when it comes to programming, are you still able to do some programming, or how's that all happening right now?
Our programming has moved online. We tried to pivot pretty quickly to online programming, as soon as the pandemic struck and we all had to close down. We tried to bring as much as we could online. We're still doing things like story times online and things like that. We don't have access to our community rooms right now because when library materials are returned to us through the book drop, we actually quarantine those materials for 3 days, which is the accepted scientific lifespan of the virus on things like a plastic book cover. So we put those aside for 3 days, and we just kind of we let those viruses die off if they're there, so that we know that they're safe when we put them back. And so that's what we're using our community rooms for right now. So we don't really have the ability to offer programs at the moment.
And for the stuff that is online, where can people find information on how to access those?
Absolutely. So if people go to our website, which is just indypl.org, you'll see some links right up top that you can look at to access our e-resources. There's a link that says ebooks and streaming. There's a link that says research. If you're a student and you're looking for some support with a paper or some things like that, those are right up there at the top.
And touching on student resources, as the school systems kind of decide what they want to do, if they want to be virtual, if they want to be in person, if it's a mix of the two, what resources are available to students from the library right now?
That's a great question. We have a ton of resources for students. So our branches are obviously still open, so students are welcome to come in and ask a librarian for help. If they can't get to the library, if they can get to our website, there's a lot of things that they can access even without a library card. For example, we have the World Book Encyclopedia online, which is a great, kind of general resource for kids that you can access without a library card. With a library card, obviously, you've got a little bit more power. You can download ebooks. You can download e-audiobooks. You can stream video. You can access our databases and things like that. But there's just a huge amount of stuff that people can access right from their house if that's what they need to do.
And if students need to come in to use Wi-Fi, are they able to do that?
Absolutely. We do still have Wi-Fi in all of our locations. You don't even need to come in the building if that's something that you're not comfortable with. Our Wi-Fi extends into the parking lot at most locations, so you could actually just sit in your car with your device and get things done if you needed to.
Excellent. And on the teacher side, is there any resources available to help teachers as they're trying to reach everybody from classroom to houses to everything in between?
Yeah, so those same electronic resources are available to teachers. There's a lot of databases that are built kind of for students. So if teachers want to lean on those in their lesson plans, or if they want to send kids directly to those resources, we're happy to help teachers come up with ways to use them. We're happy to help teachers extend their reach to individual patrons if they need to. We're happy to do whatever we can to support teachers and students.
And if someone is looking for resources in general, are they able to call into the library? Are there people available to answer those questions?
Yep, absolutely. All of our buildings are open now with the exception of Lawrence, which is still being remodeled, so they can call us during the day. We're open 10 to 6 most days, and so they can just pick up the phone and give us a call, and we are happy to do whatever we can.
And where can people find all of the resources besides the website at indypl.org? Are there also, how can they also connect with you on social media?
So, yeah, great question. So we have social media channels. We have Facebook. We have Instagram. We have Twitter. So, yeah, you can find us basically anywhere. We try to be as many places as possible.
Excellent. And, John, is there anything else you'd like to add about the reopenings, about resources, or about the libraries in general?
We're just happy to be back. You know, it was tough for us to be away. We're extremely happy that our buildings are open and that we can welcome our patrons back. We've missed them quite a bit. We've hoped that they've missed us. So yeah, we're just glad to be back, and we're happy to do whatever we can.
If you want to reach out, or if you have topics you'd like me to cover, you can reach me at Metheny. That's EMETHENY at radio-1.com. Thank you for listening, and please join me again next week. Until then, have a great week.
Radio Now 100.9's Indy Connection with Emily Metheny.